In this video, I'm going to show you how to install a leveling kit on this F-250 here. And what that means is, for us, it's going to be a 2-inch leveling kit. It's just this aluminum puck that will go underneath the coil spring. So to do that, we're going to have to drop the whole front differential down until the springs come out, and then we can put this in. So let's get started. Now, just as a disclaimer, before we start, I want to mention that you need at least 2 6-ton jack stands to support the front differential, and then you need 2 hydraulic jacks or a lift like I have, so you can raise the whole truck up, body and frame, off of the front differential and expand those coil springs. Having said that, I'm going to remove both of the front wheels. I'm only going to show you how to remove the driver's side because the process is the same for that one. So go ahead and take both of your wheels off. Let's remove the wheel, take off this cap if you have one, use a pry bar or a screwdriver, just be gentle not to damage it or the wheel. And now with a 21mm socket, remove all 8 of your lug nuts, and then we'll take the wheel off. Remove the wheel. Now with both of the front wheels off, I have the front differential supported on some jack stands. I'm using a lift, but you can use jacks. I went right here. You can go further back on the frame if you want to. Whatever works for you, just make sure you are not damaging the structure of the frame or the body itself. Definitely don't support it here on the running boards. And the reason you do this is because you want these arms here to be able to freely go down as you lower the differential. At this point, we can start taking things apart, and everything that I show you on this side, you can apply to the other side as well. The first thing I want to do is unplug the ABS sensor from over here on both sides so that it doesn't overextend when I drop this down. Go ahead and take a screwdriver, put it in here, pry this open. Take the wire out, just let it hang over here. 18mm socket, take the lower shock mounting bolt off. You don't have to worry about holding the other side because it has a captive nut, which just fell out. Make sure you keep this. Take out 2 8mm bolts that hold on the ABS wire to the axle tube here, right where the spring is. A lot of times these are rusty, so watch out when you take them. Hopefully yours don't break. And on the front side, you have the brake hose as well as this vacuum hose bracket with a 10mm. Go ahead and take those off. Okay, get this bracket out of the way. Now let's do the same to the other side. Well, there you have it. Spring can come out, and we can perform our upgrade now. Now you can see that this is our factory spring seat right here. Can't really move this much out of the way, but you can see it. And we have to use an 18mm socket. Get that center bolt out of there. Okay. With this out of here, you can lift this up. Obviously, we'll have to clean this area very well. Then we'll put the spacer in, and then this goes on top. Just gonna coat this with some anti-seize. You can put grease, whatever you want, or paint it. You could paint it. Just anything to prevent rust from building up. I don't want it rotting this part out, bubbling, raising everything, then it doesn't sit properly. Now take your spacer, and you can see that it has a beveled edge on one side. That beveled part's going to go down. Then you can place your original spring mount on top, slide the bolt through, and that's what's going to line everything up. Now the trick here is to make sure that this is nice and straight, centered, lined up. 21mm socket. Now let's bottom it out and make sure it's nice and tight. Now to get the spring in, it won't fit right away. We have to drop the differential a little bit more. So what's happening is the sway bar is not letting us go down far enough. Let's take the sway bar off. The easiest way to get the sway bar disconnected is to remove these two 15mm nuts on each side that hold it to the body, or the frame I should say. Now with the sway bar disconnected, let's try that again. Position your spring in. Still have to go a little more. Now I'm using this bungee cord here to keep the spring that way. I'm working alone, so I have to have this held in place so that when the frame drops down, it can actually seat the spring in. At this point, I did the same exact thing on the other side. The spring is settled in, it's positioned properly. You want to make sure that you match the cutout of the top rubber as well as the cutout on the bottom piece. Everything is perfect. So now let's lower the whole truck onto the front axle and line up the shock. That's going to be our next thing. The sway bar, we'll worry about it later. Once the truck is lower to the ground and the axle is closer to the frame, it'll be much easier to put the sway bar back. So we'll worry about the shock right now. Let's slowly compress the suspension back down. Let's get this bracket bolted up. Okay, let's get these two bolted up. Next is the shock. Slide the bolt through. As long as it goes all the way through, that means everything is lined up. Put the nut in on the other side. Torque it to 111 foot-pounds. Put the sway bar back up. And put the nuts on the other side as well. And make sure they're nice and tight. And of course, don't forget to clip in the ABS sensor. Now let's lift the truck up, get the jack stands out of there, clean up the mess, and put the wheels on. Put on all 8 of your lug nuts, bottom them out, and then we'll torque these in a cross pattern to 165 foot-pounds. And don't forget about this cap. Now at this point you're done with the wheels back on and torqued, so take it for a road test. Your alignment will be off, but not in the toe. So the tires are still going to be parallel. The toe is going to be okay as long as it was before. However, your steering wheel is most likely going to sit off center. And that's because your front axle is now lower than it was before by approximately 2 inches. And the drag link, which is that right there, actually will sit at a different angle, which means it'll pull the front wheels differently, and therefore your steering wheel won't be centered. So I strongly suggest getting an alignment. That way everything is nice and straight, everything's set up perfectly, and you can safely drive down the road.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.